Firstly, I just want to say we just hit 500 subs on the channel, which is just insane. So thank you to every person who has subscribed, especially to those who religiously watch every new video and engage with me and the community. Here's to another 500. Next week's video will be based around this achievement and should be a good one. Secondly, apologies for no upload last week. I had a tooth infection that was causing me severe pain. Moving on. If you have been here a while, you'll know I have a little 3D FPS going, my first 3D game. Today I have some more prototype tests in progress to show you, so hopefully you'll enjoy today's video. It has all been a little crazy at the moment, so it's super hard to find time for everything, but regardless, the game has made some good improvements since the last video, so let's dive in. Hey guys, Blakey here and welcome back to another video. In the last video you saw a smooth little FPS game with some added mechanics, but the world was boring. There is nothing in it but this lonely little turd type character and his orb. So I wanted to start some level design. When it comes to 3D levels, I have no knowledge. What I do know is there is a package called Pro Builder, which is very Blakey friendly in terms of how to use, and gives me a super easy way to build levels quickly and efficiently. With this brilliant little pack installed, I got to work just building walls and random crap. I wouldn't yet class these as levels, it is more so just a test map for me to build mechanics and stuff, so get used to this little play area as we will be here a while. I added some nice colours just to give the world some vibrancy, and this purple colour looks really nice. I do realise this is completely irrelevant to mechanic testing, but you should know by now I am not going to stay focused on anything for long. I made some small mechanic tests such as launching yourself over walls using the pull mechanic from the previous video, and getting too far away platforms using the push force and so on. One thing I felt was missing was some sort of juice to the game. Juice in game development, for those that might not have heard the term before, refers to ways to make your game look and feel good, such as better effects and stuff like that. What I'm going to be adding is a camera shake whenever the player uses the push or pull mechanic. This is simple, we just use random.range to slightly move the camera randomly for a given duration, and we can control this each time we use a script. We can call that script using a coroutine from basically any script we want. You should know I can't go with devlog without using a coroutine somewhere at this point. You can see it's super subtle and barely noticeable, but does give enough to make it feel impactful. With other effects later down the line, I think I can make it look pretty cool. We'll see. The next thing I'm going to talk about is a little different, as it is something I attempted to add because at first glance it didn't seem that hard, but for whatever reason it turned out to be, and that is wall running. I ended up scrapping it for now as I just can't handle it, and I would rather focus on other more simple stuff first. Anyway, let's get into it. Think of it as a bit of a story time. So it all started on a random day. I can't remember when it was, ages ago. Anyway, I desperately wanted a very cool wall running feature. So I got to work searching up tutorials. I found one and decided to dedicate my day to it working. Used tons of new floats, variables, raycast, booleans and all sorts. There was honestly tons of code and I was getting all excited thinking I was about to get it working, but it started getting more and more confusing. The last straw was when this happened. Please work, please. Why do I even bother? Why? How high am I going? Why am I going so high? That happened. After that, I kind of left the project alone for a while, and that was the end of my wall running dreams. Going back into the project a few weeks later, I encountered this bug. This bug right here plagued me. I have no idea why this was happening, and I was ready to just give up this project once and for all because I had completely and utterly had enough. Basically, what was happening was whenever I looked at certain angles, the player would just start sliding in a random direction and it would just constantly change. And I checked through every script and this just made zero sense to me. Nothing seems wrong. I did some debugging by disabling individual game objects, then playing the game to find out what was the issue. The only one I missed was the orb, as I didn't see how a game object with no script could interfere. But no, you guessed it, that was my issue. There was a collider on this orb, and boom, I removed it, it was fixed. After doing this, I think what was happening was as I looked down, the collider was hitting the floor and it was pushing the player away from it, or something. I'm not a physicist, don't ask me. Regardless, it was a massive sigh of relief. Right, enough of fixing pointless things and just failing to code. Let's talk about something I actually did add. I decided to implement a new simple mechanic, which is a shrink. The player can, at the press of a button, halve his size for a short period of time. The The player can squeeze through areas providing their timing is good, and I already have some plans on some super cool level designs using this mechanic. And paired with the others, I have some flexibility to work with. This was super simple to add as well. I just used another coroutine, obviously, to halve the scale of the player for 2 seconds and then set it back to normal. Simple stuff. I will be adding levels where this mechanic is used in restricted situations to keep it interesting, and this mechanic does have some other work that I want to add to it. By adding this feature, I did encounter an issue, which is good timing really, as it means I can fix it now and learn something new. The bug is basically whenever the player looks in a certain place while standing by a wall, the orb will clip through these game objects. Now, I was unsure on what ways to fix this, either using shaders or something else, but we both know I don't know anything about shaders. After attempting different render layers and stuff like that, I figured out a much simpler solution, and by me figuring it out, obviously I looked it up. That is to use a second camera. Now, I was hesitant on doing this initially as I was worried about optimization issues, but for now it works and I'm fine with that. Basically, the main camera will render everything in the game but the orb, and the secondary camera only renders the orb at all times. This means it will never disappear and ignores depth. I'm glad I got this sorted, as it is just one less thing to worry about. One thing I've thought about the orb from the start is it is just bland. Of course, I haven't finished establishing the story and it does have one animation, but right now it contributes absolutely nothing when the player uses Force. I thought I'd try and change that. So I made a little animation where the blue rings surrounding the orb expand when the player uses Force. By using a small exit time duration, the animation is completely seamless and will go back to the idle animation after the new animation has taken place. It works a little too well and almost too good for me, but I can assure you I actually did make this myself. The final thing I'm going to talk about, and partly why you guys clicked on this video, is the artificial intelligence I'm implementing. Now, I've decided to add this due to the world currently feeling too dead and still and not moving. You get the gist. The world needs some life other than the player, and I thought adding some simple AI to start off with would work. I'm starting off with some enemies, but have plans to actually introduce some good players for once. I know, something to actually help you in a game made by me, unheard of. Anyway, I'm going to prepare you now. The robot you're about to see me make is so incredibly simple, I literally could build it out of Lego in a matter of seconds. And there is a massive chance I'm going to change it in the future, but for now this will do. It's just a weird polygonal thing with cubes for eyes and, you know, stuff. That is really the most accurate and detailed explanation I can give. Sorry. Anyway, after getting all the import settings sorted and some weird bugs that we're not even going to go into today, he was safely in Unity and I could decide on the AI method to use. I did start with the simple method of setting the AI to go to the player with something called lerp, which just makes it smooth, which is what we want. We love smoothness. After doing this, there was a small issue where the AI wasn't a big fan of the objects in the world, so I just decided to skip them and pass through them. I mean, I probably would do the same if I could in real life, you know, walls are overrated, but for this game it wasn't the desired effect, so I changed to the nav mesh system built in. This makes it really easy to just have the game follow the player and avoid objects. Right, I guess that works too. You know, yeah, I don't really have much to say about this. Now, it is a little better, and it works pretty well, and for a start, it is a good one. It can climb slopes and actually recognise a massive fat off wall in its way, and choose to go around it. How lovely. That is pretty much all I've done since the last episode, and slowly but surely I am seeing a game piece together. Slowly. Guys, that concludes today's devlog. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, subscribe and all of that other stuff, you know what to do. Lads, I will thank you all very much for watching today's video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.